So thank you everybody for being here today on our latest and greatest Alignable meeting. Today we are highlighting Jackie Coulson and Transcend Cruises. And I did a little bit of research before the talk and learned a bit about Transcend, and they are a little bit different, and Jackie will tell everybody all about that. Save your questions until the end and we will get her going. So Jackie, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks so much, Paul, for inviting me. And I think that this is a really great group to start this with because I think most of you are into some aspect of group travel. So Transcend Cruises, I don't know if you've done any sort of river cruising before, and I'm sure most of you know about the different river lines that are out there who do a phenomenal job in the retail sector. So selling individual staterooms through travel agencies, which is great. They all build their programs for the entire season, and then it becomes that is their program. So the issue with that, when you are doing any sort of charters, and my background is coming from both TALC as well as with Uniworld Travel Corporation, and what my sales team always had an issue with when they were talking to travel agents is if they went to charter and they wanted some customization, you could not do the customization. So it was very difficult to do so when you are actually chartering the whole entire ship. And also that it worked the same way, not only with travel agents, but also with meeting planners, wedding planners, etc. And I'm not sure of everybody that's in here what their backgrounds are, but the same sort of thing happened. So inflexibility, with the customization, you couldn't choose your own itineraries, you couldn't do less than 7 nights or 2 nights or 3 nights or whatever you needed to do or longer, and you couldn't choose where to start and stop. You couldn't manipulate meals and anything that was on board. So it became frustrating, which we totally understand. The other thing was when you did put your group pricing together, occasionally the supplier, being the other river line, might end up having a sale the week before, the week after on their retail program, and then it starts to conflict with your charter. Hence, why Transcend was born. So a lot of research was put into place with Transcend Cruises to find out all the pain points that are out there with chartering. And on, like I said, the retail lines do an amazing job at what they're doing, but when it comes to doing as far as chartering, a little bit more difficult. So what we ended up doing as we're building in the program is to make sure that we covered all those pain points. So if you want to move to the next slide, Paul. So this is a little bit about Transcend Cruises. We are only B2B. You will never ever see us out into the retail market. Never see us any price point, anything like that that's out there. We remove all those barriers like I chatted about. And we have accommodation. We're all the same length and width going through the locks on the rivers. Our accommodations are 120 guests. We have 60 identical oversized 210 square foot staterooms. Every single one of these staterooms can convert into 2-room suites. So you could take the 60 staterooms and you could convert them all down, if you wanted to do all of them, to 30 suites, 2 rooms. Or you can take 1 or 2 or 10, we don't care. And we don't care which level that you put them on. All of our staterooms are above the water line. And as far as our guest to crew ratio, we are pretty well 1-to-1 in an all suite configuration, or 52 on board, which I think is about a 1-to-2 if you're doing all staterooms. So very important to us to have everything above the water line. So that was one thing. The second thing, nobody's fighting over what size the stateroom, which is absolutely amazing when you're dealing with charters, and it makes it so much easier for you. So if you move to the next slide. Like I said, 100% B2B. Here's our pillars for you. Pricing transparency, your price based on a per charter night. We include everything that's on board. The stuff that's not included, which could be enhanced to your program, would be shore excursions and transfers. Why don't we include that? Because not everybody wants shore excursions every single day. Some might want shore excursions on day 3 and 4. You can work with suggested DMCs that we have. You can do your own thing. You can become an independent explorer. It does not really matter. We help you with the programs. I know with some of the charters that we already have in place, they've asked me, let's build an itinerary where everything is there and I don't have to do a lot of excursions that are taking them on a coach elsewhere. So we've done that. So this is where our team comes in with the expertise that we have to be able to give you flexible itineraries and programming. We're also client specific customization. Every single charter is totally different, which our crew absolutely loves. It gives them lots of opportunity to be innovative, and they are excited about everybody that's coming the next time because they're so different. Wellness enabled design, this was something that came into play when we're building the program. There's a lot of people looking for wellness. So we have incorporated that in the ship, which I'll show you in the next couple of slides. And exclusive charter. Our complete focus is with you. We are the brand behind your brand. So you're basically white labeling us. We're the brand that is going to enhance your brand. Everything that is going to be on board will be all about you. So if we move to the next slide. So a little bit about the ship. Again, we're going to enter into service in 2026 with 2 ships. The first one our charters will be in April we're starting, and then the next will be kind of late May. We are currently building the first ship, who is in the shipyard. Dunbrayan is going to be building our ships, and they will be in the shipyard in Romania, and then that ship will move over to the Netherlands to complete the build, and then a little bit further we'll start another ship in the shipyard in Romania, and then vice versa, and then come on over, and then the 2 of them will be deployed in 2026. We have opened up our books for bookings 2026, 27, 28, and actually looking at some 2029s now. And that's basically because of all the interest that we've had a lot on the MICE side, on the meeting and incentive and charters and event side, as well as the agency side and some tour operators. So those are really the vertical buckets that are booking with us right now. And then I've given you the 1-to-2 standard ratio and the 1-to-1 as far as our crew members for the Transcend family to your guests, and then 120 total guests, 60 staterooms. So next slide. So unique on board, we have 5 distinct areas on our ship that all 120 guests can congregate. And then in the next slide after that, I've got it broken down on where those 120 guests can. For any sort of meetings or anything like that, we wanted to be able to touch the ship on, regardless on the type of charterer that we have. So if you're looking at breakout rooms, if you're looking at private dining, meeting spaces, we have opportunity to do that. We have state-of-the-art technology that's going to be on board to elevate your brand, and I'll show you some of the areas. We will also have a 3-level indoor-outdoor wellness zone. We put the wellness zone in the rear of the ship as well, and I'll show you where that wellness is. Every pair of staterooms, like I said, can convert from 210 square feet to 420 square feet, being a two bath suite, and then also full flexibility on the menu designs. We can incorporate any sort of charter type client. We've got celiac charters before, we've got multi-gen charters, we've got, you could have different types of menus every single day. You could have some theme type menus. You can do whatever you need to do for your charter. So completely open. And then open kitchen also, we can do some chef demonstrations. We can do a top chef competition if you wanted to do something like that. Signature cocktails, wine bars, everything that's going to be on board will be included into your pricing, including full board alcohol, and also your gratuities can be incorporated into your one package so that you don't have to worry about anything on board. Next slide. This is a deck plan overview. So if you were doing the 60 staterooms, you would be looking at the blue, which is deck 2 and 3, where you see the 60 staterooms all above the waterline. If you wanted to change any of them into suites, how it would look would be more in the gold on deck 2 and deck 3, so you could see the suites. If you want to, I've had this question, well, what happens if I want to mix and match? How do you go ahead and change the numbers? So if you move on to the next slide, everything I think we jumped a slide. Okay, maybe we didn't. Okay, so digital wise, all the doors can be digitally different as far as the numbers. So if it's a suite, we can turn it into the suite number and lock one particular door. If it's a stateroom, then the stateroom numbers will follow. And I do have a picture on there that's probably coming afterwards. So here's what the oversized staterooms look like. So in the stateroom, what was really important to us was to have king size beds. There's only one other retail line that has king size beds right now, and that is Riverside. So for us, when you're splitting a king size bed into two twins, we wanted to have the twin XLs. So we wanted to make sure that we've got European king size beds. And then how do we do that? We ended up taking the end tables that are normally on the beds, and we've incorporated them in to the wall aspect so that you've got all of your 220 volts, 120 volts, and what you would need there. And then beside that, or to the left of the bed, is going to be the first closet. So we have two closets in this stateroom. So the first closet is there, and you can see that the glass is kind of smoked out a little bit. To the left of that will be your water closet. So you will have, in the water closet, you will have a small sink that's going to be in there as well. We wanted that to be incorporated into every single stateroom. And then you will see beside the water closet is the door that you enter into. And the bathroom is going to have two sinks, and we will have a shower, and we will have areas that will be for the towel racks and that sort of stuff there. And everybody keeps asking me, so how come it's see-through? And what if I have a couple of colleagues sharing and that sort of thing? We will have it smoked out where it will become completely opaque, and you can do that as you are walking into the washroom. If you email me afterwards, I would completely love to send you any of the overview that we've got. I can send you some PDFs where you can have all the details of this. But I can also get you the video walkthrough, which you can see how the glass ends up changing. So if you move to the next slide, we'll look at what the other side of the room looks like. So you can see the bathroom that's there, but you can also see now we have a second closet. And then we have your workstation area. Important thing to us was to be able to have a refrigerator in every single room. But typically on the river cruise, if you do have some refrigerators, you're bending down and you have to open up the fridge down below. So we decided to use it like yacht-like, and our refrigerators are going to be pulled out. So you can see where the coffee maker is located. Underneath that is going to be your refrigerator drawer. Above, you can see a picture. That's not a picture, it's a Samsung frame television. This is also a great area for you as a charterer if you wanted to put a welcome up there, if you wanted to enhance it and put anything up there that you wanted to stream for any of the clients, you can do so. As far as Wi-Fi, that's all included. Your AV is all included into your charter rate. We will be on Starlink, and we will always have, of course, a movie package and that sort of thing that's going to be on there too. Okay, if you move on to the next one, I can see there's an overview of two side-by-side staterooms. So here's another thing that you can do. In the side-by-side staterooms, if you wanted to have them connect, you can see where the two washrooms are, and then there's basically a door opening. So we can retract and open up that door so we can make this a true connecting room. Up to you on how your charter rates are going to be and what you're going to do as far as charging for a connecting room, etc. But the connecting room will allow you to have a pass-through, and then we decided in the evening we can pull over we can pull over a blind type area, so it makes it just a little bit more private on either side. So if you move on to the next one, I'll show you what a suite looks like. Because now we can take these two rooms and we can make one side into a living room. So this is the side of what a living room would look like, where you've got your chair and your ottoman, and the bed goes away, which is magic. The bed goes away, and now all of a sudden, if you move on to the next slide, you will have a couch. So now you have a full living room on one side, and on the other side, you've got your stateroom. But there's more. So let's say on the stateroom, You wanted to not have two full separate bathrooms. So instead, if you move on to the next slide, we can take the wall out in between the showers. So because we can do that, now you have a two-person shower, but you still have separate sink areas and you still have separate water closets, but it's really nice to be able to remove that wall if you want to, or you may not want to. This is where the customization comes in. You can do this per stateroom, per client needs, anything that you want to be able to do based on the client. So the next slide over. This is what the overview would look like. So you can see on the right-hand side, you've got the stateroom, just like I showed you from the 60 different staterooms, they would all be identical. On the left-hand side, you've now turned this into a 2-room suite, and you can see how the living room, it's open there for the living room area. This also allows you, if you do want suites, you can work with us on enhancing, programs for the suite. If you wanted extra canopies, if you wanted anything like that to be able to enhance that service, we can go ahead and do that. Okay, moving on to the next slide. There's the slide I was looking for before. So on this particular slide, you can see it's all LEDs. So this enables us to change these stateroom numbers over to a suite number. And what we can do is have, basically on one side you could have some of the staterooms, on the other side you can have the suites. Doesn't really matter to us as long as you're using 2 side-by-side staterooms to turn over into a suite. You will also see some visuals underneath, and those visuals are your ability to put any sort of programming on there, messaging to clients, whatever you need to. Again, we will have a full IT person on board to work with you on any sort of your technical needs. What's great with this is we can also change the hue. So let's say your brand colors were red. So instead of having this light blue hue down onto the carpet area and above in the ceiling, we can change that to red. So we can do whatever you need as far as customization for the client, if they want it. If not, you can choose what you want to do. So if you move on to the next slide. I usually do the public venues, and I've got this on a slide really for sometimes meeting planners because they need to know the square footage and they need to know the capacity, but I really think it's good for the agency side as well because it allows you to figure out what you're going to do with your programming. So this is just telling you on deck 1 to 4 what's available on each deck, what the capacity is, what the square footage is. So it's a really handy little tool to have. You can also see deck 1. So we thought, okay, so we've got our staterooms on deck 2 and 3 above the water line. What are we going to do with deck 1? Because on the retail side, the retail side will always have their they'll have their entry-level staterooms down below where you've got your fixed windows. So that's what they utilize it for. So what are we going to do with it? So we decided to create a studio down there, which I do have a slide showing you what it looks like, with as many windows as we can, as big as we can, to allow then the charterer to decide what they want to do. So on those that already have charter agreements with us, I've got a swing dancing club that's going to use it for dancing down below. We've got some multi-generationals that are going to use it for mini sticks and hockey tournaments. We've got corporations that are of course going to use it for their suppliers to come in for trade shows, medical charters, yoga retreats, all of that sort of stuff. It's kind of like the floor is yours to be as creative as possible for that particular area. You as well will have additional charter storage. So if you needed to ship anything in advance, we would be able to store it down below for you. Okay, next slide. Top deck. So up on the top deck, all of this furniture that you're looking at is again, all artist sketch. What we're making sure is all of our furniture is movable. So we won't have any fixed furniture like in the dining room or up top. We want everything to be moved around because depending on the charterer, you may need to have different setups. So on the top deck, we could have all 120 guests. We do have a yacht screen up top. We will also be able to have the capacity of all of 120 different headsets. So you can listen to presentations, you could have a silent disco, you could kind of do whatever you want on board with it. So that again is enhancing your programming, which is going to be included into your charter rate, and it just allows you to be able to do some stuff there. Also, you can see just a little bit of a canopy up top. So that canopy is going to be the rainproof and also be able to sit underneath. We will have, when you see the overview, even for the video, there's going to be about 4 or 5 of them onto the top deck. So it's going to be really lovely, nice and airy, and nice to be able to get outside. So if you move to the next slide. So this is our main lounge, and the main lounge will be two slides that I do have for this. This is going to hold all 120 guests. We do have the bar area. We've got a lot of movable furniture around there. And then if you move to the next slide, we wanted to make sure that we had a big enough dance floor. So Paul, if you flip to the next slide. So we've got a big enough dance floor. We will be able to also sit outside as well as inside. And that's also part of the main lounge. Again, when I send you the video, you'll be able to actually do a walkthrough of that. So the next slide. This is your entranceway. So when you, just outside the entranceway is a big screen that will be displaying your information, your charterer information, your group information, whatever you decide, and we build that in. Then when you do your day-to-day programming with us, which will start about 120 days prior to departure, you will get your own account manager, and you will detail every single day what's going to go on and what your needs are and what the staterooms are and who your VIP clients are, anything like that, and your menus and your customization and detail. Then when you do board, on the left-hand side, you will see a Transcend reception desk. We will have a concierge also there, along with our guest services, so we can help all your clients. On the right-hand side will be your branded desk. So that's your opportunity to send a host, and you'll be able to have storage in the back as well. And then up top, you can see the scheduling example there, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., 3 to 4, etc. And that will be regardless of what you put into place. That's great. I don't hear the background noise anymore. I think somebody messaged that. Perfect, whoever muted, that's perfect. So all of your programming will be on your day-to-day schedule on board. So perfect if you're hosting any sort of meetings and events, because nobody can say that they didn't know what was going on. And if you're not and you're hosting something different, that's totally fine as well. Everybody can always go to the lobby if they can't find it anywhere else to know exactly what's going on. Okay, so you can move on to the next slide. So from the reception area that you saw, you would move in to the forum, or if you walk onto the right-hand side of the forum or the left-hand side, you would actually go into that main lounge and then to the rear of the ship, and you would, or to the front of the ship, and then you would go into where the dance floor is and that sort of stuff, where I showed you in the other couple of slides. When you walk through the video, everything will kind of come together. So this is our 2-story forum and our 2-story theater. Lots of opportunities for bringing a lecturer on, concerts, demonstrations. We've got some weddings that are being chartered and they're using it for the ceremony. We can also have, like, if you're going to do a movie night, you can do that there, because on the when you walk to the bottom of the forum, we're able to put like a blackout drape all the way around. So then in the evening, if you are going to be listening to a concert, or you're going to be having a band down there, or you really feel like you're going to be in a theater concept. So if you move on to the next slide. Coffee bar. So instead of just having it in the restaurant or something like that, we really wanted to set it up like a barista coffee bar and a true library. So it can be a great place for people to hang out. All the barista coffee bar is included. There's no additional cost for that. It's all into your programming. And I think it's going to be such a great area for people just to congregate, chat, whether or not you're on a leisure charter, whether or not you're on a corporate or an event. I think this might be one of the biggest hangout places. So next slide. We also have the ability of private salons. So from the coffee bar library area, we're going to have 2 private salons. So 2 spaces, both of them would be AV equipped. You can have this as specialty dining in the evening. You could have this as any sort of class or breakout or get together. Because it is AV equipped, all the glass goes completely around it. So you now can have a private area, or you can keep it opened up and you can come up with something creative where you're going to incorporate our food and beverage team to be able to do something different during the daytime. Okay, next slide. Here's our restaurant. So 2-story windows. At the very top of the restaurant would be where your main lounge is, and so the dance floor and the bar area and that sort of stuff. So then, but the windows go all the way up, and you will be able to see that the restaurant is bright, it's airy, the furniture is all movable, allowing us to do various different types of setups. If you need a head table, if you want more of a buffet style, if you want different types of settings of tables of 2, and then you also want a table of 10 and 12, we can do any of that, and we can change it up on a day-by-day basis for you. So Flex is really from 30 people all the way up to 120. This can also be where we have chef demonstrations, we have a wine tasting room, we have anything like that. So again, talk about being creativity. This is where our team works with you and your team, and we come up with some great ideas. Okay, next one. Wellness Center. This was very important based on all of the programming that we've done, based on everybody that we've spoken to prior to even launching Transcend Cruises. So the fitness studio is Techno Gym equipment into the rear of the ship, so we do have that space. The next slide. You'll see that we're the entrance, or the spa entrance area, is that as well. And if you could move to the next slide. We've got your spa relaxation area, your heated area. Some people, like I said, medical charters, some people are using this for IV therapy. Others are using it just for a really nice wellness and relaxation where you're reading a book. So that's all of these features on the wellness are included in here. The next slide. We also have 2 different types of saunas. The first one is a dry sauna. It's river facing, so it's a great opportunity to be able to cruise and be in a dry sauna as you're doing that. And then if you move on to the next slide, we are incorporating a spa wet area. So the hammam, the water features, invigorating showers, that sort of thing will be into the spa wet area. And then the next slide. This is the only thing that's not included in your charter rate. Your private massage rooms, hair blowouts, nails, facials, that sort of thing. So anything to do with a therapist, we will have 2 of these rooms. That would be the only thing not included in the charter rate. From some of the charterers that I've worked with, they've said, well, you know what, we're just going to blend that in. And I'm like, careful, because you have 120 people and they're all going to want a massage, and that's impossible to do so within your time frame. So my suggestion was, build in your programming that you could have a shipboard credit for this particular section, a small shipboard credit, to see whether or not they want to use it or not, because that's really the only other thing that would be not included on board. Okay, next one. The aft lounge. So we're still in the wellness center. So in the aft lounge is another possibility of an eating area or a breakout area. Maybe in the morning you're going to use this early morning breakfast, you're going to do smoothies, you're going to have all of this included. In the afternoon, maybe you'll have some sort of cooking demonstration. In the evening, maybe you will change this into a tapas bar. So it gives you lots of options to play around with your programming. And like I said, we've got not only, so we have the top deck that you can have eatery on, you also have the aft lounge, you've got the 2 small private dining or breakout areas that you can use for dining. So lots of different options where you can utilize food and beverage and change it up. So not So that way everybody is not eating in the same place at the same time. Okay, next. Here's the studio. So this is on deck 1. And this is what we decided to do with the studio, where other lines have more people on board, and therefore they have their starter entry-level staterooms down below. This is a great opportunity to allow the charterer to do what they need to. So this is your command center, 1,556 square feet. It holds 80 guests, lots of a different option for you. The other bonus that charterers have asked is you want to host. So you don't want to take out of your inventory of your 60 staterooms. So the other thing that we've done on this level is we've built in 3 staff rooms for you to use. They're going to be smaller, but they will still be double occupancy. They will have the same amenities as the staterooms on deck 2 and 3, but they're just going to be smaller and for you to use. You can bring staff if you have, let's say you're bringing a guest lecturer or you're bringing a photographer or something like that. These are yours over and above your inventory so that you don't have to take out of inventory, and this can enhance your programming. Okay, next slide. Here's where we talked about the branding technology. So with RIT that's on board, it gives you digital branding opportunities. You can see the entranceway on the first screen. So on the top slide, you will see the screen at the top deck, and then you will see the entranceway that we showed you. And then on the right-hand side of that is where your welcome screen could be, or whatever you want to do as far as branding it. The ambient lighting, as we talked about, all the AV that's going to be on board. We have a tablet-based dining and bar menu system allowing you to brand that. Somebody asked me as far as sponsorships, could they have a charterer or they have a client that wants to incorporate some sponsorships? And we said, absolutely, you could have any sort of marketing material that you want. You know, this particular dining sponsored by this organization. It doesn't matter to us what you do. If you want to bring on your own photographer, that's completely fine. So lots of opportunity for us to really customize it down to the nitty-gritty for you. So next slide. Multiple AVs, I said, multi-zone music system for the vessels, so not the same music has to be played everywhere. We do have a multi-system for that. We've got some pre-event prep and AV prep for you, customization for lighting and events, the upper deck utilization. So lots of options for you on the meeting capabilities and services. I've also said to anybody, just come to me with an idea. If you don't see it within our programming, please let us know, and we'll see whether or not we can incorporate whatever your client's request is, or if you have a group that you're thinking of presenting this to and they will need something specific, let us know. We will definitely try to do that. So next slide. This is all about our guest services. And one thing I can say with us in the past year, we used one of the previous Crystal ships, which is now actually I think going to Uniworld now as of December. We gave her back. And we had the Mallor, and we changed it into the Advanced by Transcend. So we have been doing all of these charters for the past year in 2024, and then we've got another ship for 2025 until our new builds come out in 26. So 25 is sold out, 26 we're booking on the new builds, 27, 28, and now we're looking at opening up 29. So the guest services, no charge for guest amenities. This is where you can add in all kinds of other interesting things that you need for your charterer. Laundry was really important to us, to have self laundry that's on board, us supplying everything that they need in order to do self laundry. All guests facing staff are English speaking as well. And then all of your branded reception and everything that I've showed you along the way, we would have too. So if you go to the next slide, Paul. And then partner support. So how do we do this? So our team is here to work with you along the way. for us in sales. And then once we get you to a point of about 120 days prior, we would turn you over to an account manager who can work on your event schedule on a day-by-day basis. The other option, once you go to a charter contract, is for us to introduce you to destination management companies that we work with based on you, or you can do your own thing and then work with our team once you get to the account manager point to incorporate saying we have a shore excursion on this day, we have to leave at this time, whatever those details are, we're here to help. And the charter customization from end to end would be here for us to work with you along the way as well. Okay, and next slide.